like when my grandma passed away, or like when I was diagnosed. Like I said, it was so hard to tell you and tell the rest of my friends because I felt like I was hurting you. And I guess just when things get tough, then I just feel like if everybody's going to be sad, then I have to be that one person to hold it together. And so I do, mostly just for the sake of everyone else. So I think that would be the only external factor.
That's good. Good?
Yeah. And yeah, that's what I do now, and everything I do now is really in his honor. I guess in a way I'm trying to. Maybe I have that same complex where, I'm trying to live up to what he would want. Because I kind of feel like my whole life I was just wanting to make him proud, and I know that I have, but this is just an extension of that.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Like, would you feel like you're living your life through his eyes now? Because, like how you said, how he was with his dad is exactly how you are with your dad. Like, you feel like you'll never be as good as him. But now, since you were diagnosed with cancer and beat it, like you said, work has been to the side. Like, family and traveling is what your priorities are.
Right. So wait, what's the question?
I'm saying, like, do you think, like, would you think that you're living your life through, like, your dad's eyes? Like, that's what your dad would want to do if he, you know what I mean?
Well, it's really strange that, like I said, when I was young, then I didn't always feel as close to my dad as I felt I should. I mean, I always loved my dad, obviously, but we just really didn't have that much in common, and he traveled a lot for his work. So naturally, I was a lot closer to my mom. But I had always imagined that maybe as I get older, then I'll be able to relate to him more, and that is exactly what's happening. And even now that he's gone, then I see more and more of it in my life, how much I am like him. And that, that's a great thing. I mean, if I had his personality and his work ethic, I'd probably be better off than I am now, but, I'm still learning.
So how are you doing with the LLS? Like, what role does it take in your life now?
With the LLS, I'm still very close to everyone there, and I'm always trying to think about what I can do to help them. Fundraising hasn't been where it was on our record year, just because, people's lives change, and then it becomes more difficult to organize these sort of things. But we have a big event coming up. I was lucky enough to meet the person that was the head of games at Parks Casino, and I mean, fingers crossed, as far as I know, we're going to be holding a big poker tournament at Parks in August that's, not just for us, but for everybody. There'll probably be professional players and everything else. Like, it's a real event. And that'll be great for their exposure. It'll be great to raise money. And so even though I'm not personally fundraising, to be able to build this connection for them, then I feel like that's my contribution for this year at least.
Yeah. So with your business, like, what were the steps that led up to your business now?
I guess I've seen what's available to people out there, and I know that they can do a lot better. And the way that I manage money now for other people is the way that I would just do it for myself anyway. So I thought that if I'm going to do it for myself, then why not help others do the same? And now I have a handful of clients, and I'm managing just over $2 million, which to a lot of people it sounds like a lot of money, but it's really not that much. Like I feel like just as an individual, I could probably manage like $100 million fairly easily. But I'm far from that point.
And when did you get your CFA?
Right, the C of A designation. I have my charter right here. That is the hardest thing I've ever worked for, and in my industry, then it's highly well known, highly respected, not so well known to the general public, but only a quarter of people that even begin to pursue it actually finish and receive their charter. So there's only 100,000 or so, give or take 5,000 people maybe, CFAs in the world. And that's the only degree or certificate that I'm actually really proud of, which I'm not trying to discredit any schools that I had gone to. But the fact of the matter is, when you go to college, then the college wants you to graduate. They don't want, people failing and then it reflecting poorly on them. So that they want you to graduate. But when you take the CFA exam, they want you to fail it. Because then, every time you retake it, that's $600. And they only offer it once a year, so the pressure is really on to get it done, or you just wasted a lot of time. Because it takes a lot of study hours to pass that exam. And so, yeah, it was maybe one of my proudest moments.
Do you guys have any questions?
No? What do you think? I think we're pretty good. I mean, that was really good. I can just shoot B-roll. Once we move the lights, I'm gonna get some.
Yeah, that's exactly.
I'm gonna get those, and I'm gonna get another good shot of that.
Do you want to say like at least one more thing or anything, or Kenny, you got anything?
You have anything else?
Yeah, maybe just one more thing.
Maybe I shouldn't have asked you that.
No, I mean, I think it would be relevant to people, anyone who views this, that when people hear my story and just how, I was really positive going through the entire thing. Like I said, I always had a really strong mindset, and a lot of people attribute that to me actually getting through it, which I think is partly true. But when I tell my story to people, then a common reaction that I get is like, oh, you were so strong to have gone through this the way that you did. And maybe that's the impression that people get. But I guess just what I would want people to know is that strength is in you too. It's in everybody. You really don't know what you're capable of until you're forced into a corner, and then you have no other choice. And I didn't know how I would react if I were ever diagnosed with cancer one day, or at a young age or something like that. And I think that people are a lot more powerful than they imagine themselves to be, and that the average person probably doesn't live up to their full potential just because they can't imagine or they can't believe that they can do it. When the truth is that if you just try, then maybe you'll surprise yourself.
Well, when you're talking about how you're positive through it all, why do you think you were positive? What made you so positive about it? I mean, your dad died, passed away less than a year, before you got diagnosed.
That's true. And obviously my dad passing was really hard on me, since we were kind of working through this together. But he's the reason why I was positive through the whole thing. Because he really fought hard, and I felt like I had every advantage coming into this, whereas he had every disadvantage. And if he could get that close, And when he died, there was no cancer in his system. It was really just that the treatment, since he was living by a thread essentially when he was diagnosed, then they really had to bombard him with a lot of treatment, and his lungs gave out in the end. That's all it was. His lungs gave out. He didn't die from cancer. And so just knowing how much he had to get through, then I felt like, despite the fact that he didn't make it, he put in such a hard effort that there's no reason why I shouldn't be able to get through it.
So in a weird way, like, do you think that you, like how you saying, like, you're striving to be just as good as your dad? Do you feel like in a way, like, you're saying you're proud because you were trying to do that in the same sense,
Not necessarily. I think if there were some sort of outside influence, then it would probably be mostly my mom and my sister.